Well, it is really heating up here in Southern California, and I know most of the U.S. is experiencing an extreme heat wave. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about some things you can do to help your garden survive in a heat wave. But before we help our plants survive a heat wave, it's really important that we ourselves survive a heat wave. So I want to encourage you to drink lots of water. One of my favorite drinks is water that's filled up here with cucumbers. I put some herbs in here, some mint and some basil. Keep yourself hydrated. The first thing you want to do to really help your garden survive during the heat wave is harvest whatever you can. I have some cucumbers here that are ready to harvest. I'm going to go ahead and harvest some of those. The reason why you want to harvest is because when a plant is producing vegetables like this one is, a lot of energy goes into keeping those plants alive. So if you harvest whatever is ready or whatever is close to being ready to harvest, you're going to help that plant send its energy into helping the plant survive rather than keeping the fruit alive. And even harvest your tomatoes that are just starting to turn ripe, because they'll ripen up inside on the counter and it'll really help your plant survive the heat wave better. And harvesting also really helps minimize the stress on your plants. The second thing you want to do in your garden to really help it survive a heat wave and help minimize stress on your plants is to check your garden daily to make sure it's getting enough water. You may need to increase the frequency of your watering. So I'm using drip irrigation here in this planter. So I'm going to increase the frequency from once every 3 days for 30 minutes to once every 2 days for 30 minutes. Now, you do want to check your garden daily, especially during a heat wave, to see if the soil is dry. And how I like to do this is very simple. You just put your finger into the soil as far as you can get it, and then see how it feels. If it feels dry, you definitely need to water your plants. You might even want to bring a little bit of soil up in your hand. You can see this soil here is nice and moist, so we don't need to water right now. Now, if you're not using drip irrigation and you're using a hose and a nozzle, it's very, very easy. You do definitely want to make sure you're watering deeply. So what I'm going to do is just water at the base of my plant here. I'm going to get a little puddle going there right at the base, and then let it soak in so it gets down into those roots, and then water again. So it's always better to water for a little bit longer of a period of time, but to water deeply. And you do want to come out and water in the morning or water in the evening. Avoid watering during the heat of the day. Now, when you're helping your containers survive a heat wave, it's really important to keep in mind they're going to need watering a lot more often than your in-ground garden. Once a day during a heat wave, maybe even twice a day. So you're going to come in and check to see if they need watering. It's really important that you don't let them dry out completely because your plants will get stressed. You want to keep them a nice, even moisture. So you water at the base until the water runs out the bottom. The third thing you can do to help your garden survive a heat wave is mulch. Mulch as much as you can. What that does is it helps provide a barrier between the soil and the sun, really reduces the water evaporation. You won't have to water near as much when you mulch your plants. So here I have a nice little bucket of shredded leaves. You can also use straw or shredded hardwood. You want to spread a couple inches around the base of your plants just to cover the soil and to really help keep the roots cooler. And it really does make a huge, huge difference. The fourth thing you can do to help your garden survive a heat wave, reduce stress on your plants, and really keep your plants cooler is to shade them. Shade them however you can, whether you use a beach umbrella, a patio umbrella, or whether you use some shade cloth. Now, there's a couple of different things you can use for shade cloth. You can look through your closets. Everyone has these old sheer curtains, don't you? I've had these around my house for a lot of years. They'll still allow some of the sunlight to get through, and they work perfectly for shade cloth in your garden. Now, an old bed sheet is not going to allow any sunlight to get to your plants, but when we're talking triple-digit heat, that's definitely okay. The other thing you can do is some actual shade cloth that you purchase either on Amazon or from your garden center. This one here is a 40% block. This one here I picked up, I think, at Home Depot. It's a little bit thicker of a weave. I think it's maybe a 60% block. So it doesn't really matter the percentage of sunblock that you use. It's just good to shade your plants. It doesn't matter if it's black or if it's tan. So I'm going to drape some over my cucumber plants today. It's super easy to do. You don't need to make it very complicated. I am just going to pound a couple of stakes here into the corner of my garden bed and then just drape it over the trellis. You can definitely construct a more permanent structure if you want to, but I would just encourage you to get out there and just keep your plants shaded. It really does help keep them cooler, and you'll notice much less blossom drop when your plants are shaded. And less blossom drop means more vegetables for you to harvest. And you can use these little binder clips, these little jaw clamps, or you can even just use clothespins that you pick up at the dollar store. So today I'm actually going to be coming out here and covering as much of my plants as I can find and pulling out all my old bed sheets from my house. So you better watch out, Jerry. You might not have any sheets on our bed tonight when we go to sleep. Now leave your plants covered as long as the temperatures are over 90 degrees. Once the temperature drops below 90 degrees Fahrenheit, you can remove the shade cloth and let your plants get the full benefit of the sun. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Let me know how things are going in your garden during the heat wave we're having right now, and let me know how you are protecting your garden from the heat too. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.